Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Reserved Investments. And I want to warn you, this is going to be a very interesting video for some of you. Every time I put out a video, somebody comes in the comment section and says, Sean, we want to see part of your personal collection. Why won't you put out any videos where you show us pieces from your personal collections? Well, if you notice, from time to time, I do that in some of my standard videos. I also have several videos out there geared towards coins and currency where I show off part of my high-end collections. That said, I really don't like to do videos like this because it puts out, in my opinion, a very negative, condescending vibe. And I honestly think there's too much of that already on social media and YouTube in general. It's almost like, look at me, look what I have. And I don't like putting out content like that just to get likes or just to get a reaction. The reason why I am choosing to do this video right now is I realized over the last few months, I've accumulated some high-end items that should have already been taken to my safety deposit box. So I started processing these items today, and I figured I would just show them on camera before I take some of these items to my safety deposit box. Always remember, I don't live directly with my collections. Most of the stuff that I choose to invest in, the high-end stuff, is usually kept at off-site storage, whether it's a safety deposit box, whether it's off-site climate-controlled storage facilities. I really don't like keeping this expensive stuff at my personal residence for obvious safety reasons, especially with me being on YouTube. Now, another thing I am going to be showing you in this video is some of the fun stuff, some of the stuff that I got at a really good deal, or I'm either speculating on it, just watching what the market's going to do for some of this stuff. So I'm going to show you the best of both worlds. We're going to start, before we get into the cool pop culture stuff, before I show you 3 scarce Star Wars proof cards, I'm going to start off with one rare coin that I recently purchased. And if you don't know what this is a 1928S peace dollar, graded by PCGS in MS64 plus condition. Now, interestingly enough, this coin is actually one of the key dates to the peace dollar series, especially in MS64 condition or higher. This coin, again, is in MS64 plus condition. Now, I bought this coin for several reasons. Number one, if this coin was just half a grade higher, in MS65 condition, this coin would sell for close to $15,000 on the secondary market today. I bought this coin through Great Collections, and I recently paid $3,193.63 for this coin. The coin has beautiful eye appeal, and honestly, if you watch this video and you understand the concept of the optimal collecting grade, which I've covered in previous videos on this channel, you probably already know why I chose to go after this coin in MS64 plus condition, where I only paid $3,193.63 for it, as opposed to spending close to $15,000 for an MS65 condition coin. So that's really why I bought this. I honestly consider it to be an excellent investment piece, especially over the long term. Now, if you are investing in rare coins, even if they are third-party graded like this one, you always want to use protection, gentlemen. And one of the things that I love when I invest in rare coins is utilizing these wonderful intercept technology boxes that pretty much collect, or I should say protect, graded coins from the elements. So you just put the coin in the sleeve, pop it in the box, pop the lid on it, and you can put this right in a safety deposit box and you're good to go. And I want to make this very clear. I am not a paid sponsor of this company. I've just been using their products for well over 10 years now, and I really like them. I always recommend these products to other high-end coin collectors as well. Now that the coin is out of the way, next we're going to be talking about vintage Kenner Star Wars proof cards. Proof cards that are in near mint condition or better. So interestingly enough, I actually purchased this particular proof card that I'm going to be showing you in a minute all the way back in March of last year. But when it came in the mail, I opened it, I looked it over. I, of course, left the seller positive feedback on eBay, but I misplaced it. I actually put it in the long room in my house. And I came across it while I was cleaning, and I said, oh my gosh, I have this expensive proof card that's just sitting here that should be in my safety deposit box. So I decided to put that in this grouping simply because this also has to go to my safety deposit box with the rest of this stuff as a result. Now, this particular piece is a vintage Kenner Toys Star Wars Revenge of the Jedi Luke Skywalker in Bespin Fatigues proof card. And this is what is known as a 48 back proof card. If you don't know why it's called a 48 back, it's because on the back of the card, there's 48 other action figures advertised. So that's why they call it a 48 back. That's how it gets its name. Now this is in, I don't know if you can see here, 85 near mint condition. And what makes this so unique is this is part of the Revenge of the Jedi line. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. Hardcore Star Wars fans are aware of this. But the original name for the Return of the Jedi was actually Revenge of the Jedi. George Lucas, at the last moment, thought that a Jedi would never seek revenge. So he quickly changed the name to Return of the Jedi. Well, lo and behold, obviously, due to production timeframes, Kenner Toys was already busy making toys for the new movie. Well, some of these proof cards, as a result, got out in the secondary market. I want to make this very clear. Out of all the proof cards in existence, as you're going to see as we go along here, Revenge of the Jedi proof cards are by far the most common. They are also in a lot of demand simply because most people, especially if you collect vintage Star Wars action figures, toys, play sets, and the like, most people want to own something with the name Revenge of the Jedi on it. So that's why there's a lot of collector interest in this market. You just have to be careful when you invest and buy Revenge of the Jedi proof cards in particular, because the price fluctuates as a result due to how much supply is on the market at any given time. This is why if you pay attention to like Hakes auctions or even eBay, sometimes you will get a steal in this market. Now, interestingly enough, I actually made an offer on this piece on eBay, and the seller recognized my YouTube channel. So he did me a favor and he actually sold me this this piece at cost. I keep calling it a figure because I'm so used to looking at these going, oh, it's an action figure. No, this is a proof card. So I want to make that very clear. But he sold it to me at cost. I paid $2,295.96 with taxes and, of course, shipping for this particular proof card. I honestly think that I got a good deal. And this is an excellent piece that'll go in my long-term investment portfolio. Again, this is already at my safety deposit box if you're watching this particular video. Now, speaking of proof cards, another popular segment of the Star Wars proof card market is the market for Empire Strikes Back proof cards. Now, these are much more scarcer than that of Revenge of the Jedi proof cards. And there's different variants of all of these. For instance, this one here, this is for the character Hammerhead that first made his appearance in, of course, the original Star Wars movie, the Cantina scene. This is actually known as a 31 back. And the reason, again, why it's called a 31 back is because if you count here, there's 31 other characters listed on the card back here. That's where it gets its name. This too, if you can see here, this is an 85 near mint plus condition. Now, I'm not going to take it out of these bags because I don't know how the people at AFA managed to get these items originally into these bags, but they must have some mad ass origami skills that I can't compete with, because once I take an item like this out of the original bag, I can never get it back in the bag in the same manner. So I give them lots of credit for being able to do that. Now, interestingly enough, I got this piece also on eBay, and this was actually sold through Collectible Investment Brokerage. I reached out to him. We were able to work out a deal. I paid a grand total of $2,538.70 for this particular proof card. And I honestly love it because I don't know if you guys are aware of this. 31 back proof cards really don't come up for sale that often. So usually when I see like Empire Strikes Back proof cards, I will usually try to put in an offer for them. I do know right now there's others that are listed on eBay. If I can get them at a good price, I will try. I'm not going to overpay for these items, even though compared to major production release items, these are quite scarce. I want to be very clear about that. Now, when we talk about proof cards, last but not least, this one's almost going to look exactly the same as the Revenge of the Jedi one, but alas, this is actually an Empire Strikes Back proof card. And again, this is for Luke Skywalker in Bespin Fatigues. However, this is a 45 back Empire Strikes Back proof card, and it is in, if you can see the grade there, AFA 90 condition. So this is actually graded higher than the other two. Remember, these other two are graded in 85 condition. Now, I got this through eBay, and me and the seller were able to work out a deal. I paid $3,456.98 for this particular proof card. So you can see there's a lot of money in proof cards right here, guys. And this is something that I really love. The reason why I like collecting proof cards rather than the actual action figures themselves is simply because there's less risk handling these pieces. There's no bubble that can yellow. There's no tape that is holding the accessories within that bubble. Also, when we look at these items, these are considered pre-production items. So these are actually prototype items that you can still own from the coveted vintage Kenner Star Wars line. Now, when we talk about the rarity of proof cards, there are certain ones that, of course, are rarer or more in demand than others. Now, naturally, if you have Boba Fett, if you have Darth Vader, any of those proof cards at present time are going to command a premium on the secondary market. So is Luke Skywalker, of course, because he's one of the main characters. However, when we talk about proof cards, the actual more scarce versions of the proof cards in existence are from the original Star Wars 12-back line. If you have any of those proof cards and they're in the coveted 85 on upgrade, they command a significant premium on the market. Also, if you have any of the proof cards that belong to the Power of the Force line, if you guys recall, that was the very last line released as part of the original vintage series outside of the Ewoks and Droids line. If you have any of those proof cards, they can cost tens of thousands of dollars on the secondary market in today's market. So those are something worth collecting and investing in if you have the means. Those are very, very expensive. I have already bidded on some of those pieces. I never got lucky enough to win the bid. There was always somebody out there that was willing to pay a much more insane price than me. Now, again, that's it for a lot of the investment grade items that I'm going to be showing you in today's video. So you got to see one rare coin, 3 interestingly rare Star Wars proof cards. Next up, I'm going to show you some fun collectibles that I'm speculating on or items that I got at a really good price. So I went to an antique mall over like a couple of weeks back before all the snowstorms happened. And I stumbled upon a glass case, and this old guy, believe it or not, had this factory sealed Japanese Pokemon 151 booster box in the case. He didn't have any other Pokemon items. And I said to him, how much do you want for this? And he said, you know what? I would take 120 bucks for this. So I gave him 120 bucks and I said, you know what? I probably got a good deal on this. So this is just one of those things that I bought spare of the moment because I was in the right place, right time. And I said, you know what? Pokemon's hot. I already know I could probably flip this for a lot more on eBay. I said, I'll just buy it and keep it. Maybe put it in the background once I clean off my bookshelf. Maybe even flip it right on eBay, make some money on it. But interestingly enough, I didn't mind paying $120 for this item. Now, another thing that I bought, you guys should know I'm a huge vintage video game fan. And one of the video games that I really, really loved back in the day, I was really big on the import scene. If you guys are unaware, I don't know how old the average person that watches this channel is, but if you remember, back in the 1990s, if you would open up a copy of like Electronic Gaming Monthly, there were advertisements in the back of that video game magazine that would advertise import games that you could buy that could potentially never ever come to America. Well, some of the coolest games were released exclusively in Japan, and some of those games, even to this day, never ever were released in US stores. Now, one of the games that kind of flew under the radar back when it was originally released was a game called Undead Line. And this is a very interesting shooter game that was released in Japan for what was known then as the Sega Mega Drive. In the US, it was known as the Sega Genesis. Well, unfortunately, this spectacular game never came to US shores. But Retrobit did do a limited US release. And when I saw this on their website, I bought like 3 or 4 copies of this game because I just had to have it. And this is an example of one of those games here. If you've never played this game, I will tell you, it is very difficult. It is an incredible shooter, but it is worth checking out if you're a Sega Genesis or a Sega Mega Drive fan. Now, if you are wondering, if you do have the original Japanese release of this game, I think it's selling for close to like, I think the last one I saw was like $800 complete. I have seen listings go as high as like $1,200 for this game. That's how much in demand it really is. It is also a scarce game, being that it was only released originally in Japanese game markets. So this is something that you might want to check out. I had to buy a couple of these when it was announced. I finally got them in the mail. Last but not least, for those unaware, I am a huge Evercade fan. And Evercade has been releasing some awesome game compilations in physical form. They've recently released the Neo Geo Arcade Collection. This is Volume 2. This is Volume 3. They are factory sealed. I was able to get several copies each of these games. From what I'm seeing on eBay and on Amazon and other retailers, they are pretty much now sold out. I will tell you, only if you really, really want to own one of these, you should be paying a premium for it on the secondary market. I do know these are not retired yet, so these are not part of the legacy collection yet. It's just due to the tariffs, due to the insane political environment that we find ourselves in. The company Evercade is just having a problem restocking these at present time, but I do know they are still in production as of the recording of this video. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. These are just some interesting pieces that I decided to add to my personal investment collections over the last few months. Obviously, the high-end stuff is more for long-term investment. The stuff like this is like short-term speculative fun, watching the market on it. The Pokemon 151 booster box, I could already make money on if I want to flip it in the secondary market. So this is some of the stuff that I've been buying over the last few months. Thank you for joining me, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you are subscribed, I will see you in another upcoming video.